All right. Hello, everyone. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with today's webinar. My name is Sarah Allison, and I'm the Recreation Advisor with Horse Council of BC. And I would like to acknowledge that the land where the HCBC office is located on the traditional lands of the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. Myself and many others are attending virtually from other areas in BC, and therefore we'd like to acknowledge all Aboriginal peoples on whose territories we are meeting today. And just some housekeeping before we get started. We do have you guys on mute, but if you have any questions that pop up during the presentation, feel free to put them in the Q&A, or even just raise your hand, and then we can take that question verbally as well. To raise your hand, you can go to the React button and then hit raise hand to do that. Yeah, but here we are today with Chantel and Tanya from Sarah Insurance, and they're here to talk to us today about Horse Council BC's new group benefits plan. So with that, I will hand it over to Tanya and Chantel.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everybody.
As Sarah mentioned, I am Tanya. I am the plan administrator for the group benefits plan for HCBC. So if you guys have emailed at all or sent in a request to enroll, I'd be the person that you've been speaking with. We're just going to go through the plan design today, and then some frequently asked questions that we see a lot, obviously, and then we'll open it up, and any questions that you guys have, I'm happy to answer. There's only a couple of you on the call, so it's going to be like a one-on-one session, which is great.
Yeah. My name's Chantel, and you guys would have seen my name on the website as the contact person alongside Tanya, but all credit goes to Tanya. I'm mostly a behind-the-scenes person, so that's also why Tanya's going to lead the presentation today, and I'm just going to be here as kind of like a floating head. I'll try and help where I can.
All right. So we've just got our two plans. So to start, May 1st was the day that we launched this plan. It's brand new. We have launched it in Ontario already last year. So we launched it there November 1st, and it went really well. We've got a lot of uptake from them. So we thought, you know, what better, we're in BC to kind of get it available to you guys as well. So today I want to talk about the differences between the silver and the gold plans. So we'll go over that. And then again, any questions, just put them in the Q&A. There's only a couple of slides, so you don't have to wait too long for your questions at the end either. And I'll note some of the differences here between the two plans. So with silver and gold, on both of those options, you guys will have $25,000 of life insurance. If your death happens to be accidental, you know, a car accident, anything like that, you would be eligible for $50,000, and that would go to whoever you name as your beneficiaries when you enroll. There is some dependent life coverage as well. So if you have dependents, spouse or dependent children on the plan, spouse would get $10,000. If they pass away, you would get that. And then dependent children, it's a $5,000 benefit. And that's the same on both silver and gold. Where some of the differences start is going to be your long-term disability. So with the silver plan, you actually don't have any long-term disability coverage. With the gold, you've got up to $5,000 per month in coverage. That is based on your annual income. So if you've seen in the enrollment link, we ask, you know, what your annual approximate earnings are. And the reason we do that is just to find out how much coverage that you would be allowed. So it's 66.67% of your annual earnings divided by 12. So you get your monthly figure, and the benefit is up to $5,000. You would be covered for long-term disability for up to 2 years. Just depending on the disability and how long it'll go for, but 2 years is the max. And it is based on your own occupation. So you're not going to be made to find another job that's, you know, completely different or get training or anything like that. The only thing is you do have to wait for 112 consecutive days before you're eligible to make a claim. So essentially your long-term disability, you've got to be off work for almost 4 months. And it is a non-taxable benefit when you get paid the monthly amount. So there's no taxes being deducted off of that either. Yeah. Chantal, anything to add
Yeah,
about that?
nothing to really add, but I think that this might be a good time to pause, especially since we only have 2 members on the call, because long-term disability might be a totally new concept for you folks. So yeah, when it comes to the life insurance and the long-term disability, when you're enrolling in the plan, those are, if you're enrolling in gold, they're mandatory benefits. So does anyone have any questions they want to just shout out or type?
All right, it does look like Ellen has a question, and she's asking, what is the ending age for the disability?
Disability terminates at age 65.
65. Okay.
So one question we get obviously a lot is, if you're over the age of 65, that total, the premium that you would be paying for the long-term disability would actually get deducted. So you're not paying for something that you don't have access to.
That's right.
We've got a lot of people that, you know, are retired or over the age of 65. So that just gets taken right off the total premium.
Yeah.
Which is about $20 a month.
Yeah. And I guess the other point to make that's come up in the past with Ontario Equestrian, for example, is you might be eligible for the long-term disability benefit based on age. So you're under 65, but you don't have an income. So if you don't have an income, you can't have the benefit, right? Because the benefit exists to replace your income from a job that you're actively at work, right? So in the case of those who want the gold plan because they really like the health and the dental aspects, but they don't have an income, we would actually just zero out the income, and that allows them to select gold without paying for LTD that they can't claim on.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. And Gord is just asking, is there any age restrictions? I'm not sure if this is referring to the plan in general or if it's referring to the long-term disability. But
The plan in general terminates at age 75. So all other benefits except for long-term disability terminate at 75. Disability is the only one that terminates at 65.
okay, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's no minimum, hours required or anything like that. So you don't have to be working at all to be able to join the plan. Essentially, you just have to have the HCBC membership and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
And we do have to verify the HCBC memberships. That is the one requirement in order to join the plan. So I guess the just to wrap up the more insurance benefits, right? Like life, long-term disability, these are real insurance benefits because we don't plan to make a claim. We hope we never have to make those claims, right? So yeah, just before we move on to health and dental, I think it's probably also good to point out that what makes this program unique in this period of time is we're in an open enrollment where you're able to have access to these benefits without going through a medical. So during this open enrollment period, it's what we call guaranteed acceptance. Regardless of the state of your health, you're going to be guaranteed this life insurance benefit, this disability benefit, the health benefits, the dental benefits. And life and disability coverage is actually quite difficult to obtain as an individual in the retail market. So this is a huge value that Horse Council BC has just delivered to their members. The ability to obtain these huge safety nets for insurance purposes without medical status getting in the way.
All right. So if we've got no more questions for now, we can move on. So we've got extended health. Obviously, health and dental is a portion that we use, every day for most people. You've got your services and supplies. So that's essentially anything that's not covered by the province. So, pharmacare might cover your crutches if you get out of hospital or while you're in hospital. But essentially, once you're outside of that period, you would have to purchase your own. So things like CPAP machines fall under services and supplies, things like hearing aids, orthotic shoes, orthotic inserts,
Diabetic supplies.
Yeah, it's an extensive list. So even wheelchairs, walkers, prosthetics. It's a full 1-page list that we can go on and on. But on the silver plan, you'd be covered at 80% of the cost, and then under the gold, it's 100%. And I will say each of those items does have like an annual maximum that's applied. So for glucose monitoring systems, for example, it's a $4,000 machine that you're allowed once per year, and you'd be covered either at 80% or 100% of that cost up to that $4,000. Again, orthotics, you've got 300, hearing aids is 500 or 700 every 60 months. So each one will have a different amount attached to it. Did we get a question, or did I just see
No.
keep flashing?
One of the screens is blinking. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Also covered under extended healthcare, and this is really great. It's your out of country, out of province coverage. So anytime you're leaving your home province to go either anywhere else within Canada or outside of Canada, you are covered for 60 days per trip at 100% of emergency medical costs. So that will cover things like accident, illness, or emergency hospital. And the only thing it won't cover is anything that hasn't been stable for 90 days prior to travel. So even if you've got pre-existing conditions, you might still be covered as long as nothing's changed within that 90 days prior to travel. And that's handy to have, just even if you're traveling within Canada. It'll cover any hospital expenses, any ambulance expenses that you have outside of the province. And then we've got, of course, your vision. So under the silver plan, it's eye exams only. And then under the gold, you'd have your eye exam, which is once every 2 years or once every 1 year for children under the age of 18. And then you'd have your glasses as well. So glasses, contacts, same thing, 300 every 24 months for adults, and then every 12 months for children. And then prescription drugs, obviously, we're all familiar with what those look like. So under the silver, you'd have 70% coverage at any pharmacy, and then you get an extra 10% coverage if you pick up through Costco or Pocket Pills. A lot of people ask, what is Pocket Pills? Pocket Pills is an online pharmacy, so you would just literally order your drugs, and then they'd be delivered to your home. Costco does also offer a mail system, so you could just order through Costco online if you don't live near a Costco, and you can get your prescriptions mailed to you. Really good for maintenance drugs. If you need something every 90 days, you get on their schedule and then you're good to go. If you do go to a Costco pharmacy in person, you do not need a Costco membership. You just let them know you're going to the pharmacy and you could just go right through. So in Canada, they can't deny you the right to go to a pharmacy regardless of where it's at. So you've got that for silver, and then for gold, it's 80% coverage through any pharmacy, and then the additional 10% to make it 90 through Costco or Pocket Pills. And you guys would have a maximum of $50,000 per person per calendar year coverage. So if you've got family, it's $50,000 each of people enrolled. Yeah.
So on the prescription drug side of things, this is also a benefit that a lot of people get to see a return on their premiums right away. But because there is a $50,000 per person maximum, it's also insurance. So of course we want the drugs that we have to take that were being prescribed now covered. But it's also a financial safety net for down the road in case we, come ill and have to fork out more money for more expensive drugs.
All right, and then we've got the most fun part. You've got your paramedical practitioners. A lot of people don't know what that means. So it's essentially a group of, covered practitioners. Your chiropractor, massage, physio, acupuncture, naturopath, dietitian, and a couple of others there. On the silver plan, 80% coverage, and then you get $400 per practitioner per calendar year per person on the plan. So for each, you know, chiropractor, massage, physio, you get 400 for each of those practitioner types. And then under the gold, it's 100% covered and you get $500 per practitioner. So essentially, if you use, you know, a vast majority of those, your return on your premiums is going to be really good. And then we've got, last but not least, dental. So both of them have basic coverage. I'll go over this quick. Major coverage is only dentures, bridges, crowns, implants. Everything else would be considered basic. So fillings, extractions, root canals, even your routine x-rays and cleanings, those all fall under your basic coverage. So 80% under silver is covered and 100% under gold. There is no major coverage under silver. So that's definitely a big factor difference between the two. Under gold plan, you would be covered at 50% on major services. With silver, you get $1,000 per calendar year per family member. And then you get $1,000 per calendar year for basic and an additional $1,000 for major if you have the gold plan. So, you know, you could essentially get up to $2,000 coverage if you use both basic and major in a year. Checkup under both is going to be every 6 months. So that's fairly standard for most plans. So you can go and get your dental checkup every half a year.
Gord, I see you're on, you removed your mute. Do you have a question?
No, I just removed it because, I don't know. I was playing with buttons.
Okay. So, Gord, since you're not on mute, I'm gonna put you in the spotlight for a second here.
Sure.
So have you had a chance to visit the Horse Council BC benefit plan website that we built for everybody?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because that's kind of the landing page that we've been promoting to send everybody so that they can learn about the plan and learn how to sign up and you know, just go into the details if they needed to. And that actually, that landing page is where a lot of people start before contacting us.
Okay, so is this on the HCBC site or is it a pass through to some other site?
Actually, Sarah, I'll let you comment on how the members can find us.
I'll actually chime in there. So it has been, the main thing has been through the e-newsletters, as well as dedicated email blasts. You can also find the link to it on our social media page. And that's kind of the best way to find it.
Okay, no, I was specifically asking whether this was a link on the HCBC site or is it a pass through to, I'm sorry, who are you guys with again?
We're with Acera Insurance.
Okay, thank you. With Acera Insurance. It just simply, we simply pass through to you, or is this a landing site on HCBC?
It's not a landing site on HCBC. It's a landing site through Acera.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Acera is the underwriter?
We're actually just the brokerage that put together the plan. So the carrier is called Simply Benefits. And we essentially get you enrolled and then any claims go through Simply Benefits.
Okay, so Simply Benefits is the underwriter or are they also a reseller?
Yeah, like Simply Benefits is a third-party administrator. And the insurance company who holds the risk to pay these claims is Desjardins.
Okay, so it's a Desjardins product. Okay, thank you.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for asking those questions.
You can also find the direct link for it. It's under optional insurance on the HCBC website.
Yeah, I know I can get to Desjardins or any of you guys through that, I'm sure.
Well, you won't be able to find this on the Desjardins website though.
No.
So you have to go through the Acera one.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And is there any age restriction on these plans?
Yeah, so age 75 is the termination age for the full plan. So all components except for long-term disability. Long-term disability terminates at age 65.
Thank you. You said that before and
No, it's all good.
my
It's a
brain
lot of
needs to click
information.
in. Okay, so it seems like a good set of plans. And it's wide open, no medicals, no this, no that.
Until
It's-
July 31st. So you've got 3 months from when the plan started, which was May
Right.
1st, in order to take advantage of that. After July 31st, you would have to provide health evidence in order to join.
Okay, no problem there. And costs, I imagine you're getting to that at some point.
Yeah, so let's just see here.
And then for Sarah or Jocelyn, I assume HCBC is clipping the ticket on the way through?
No, they're not actually.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a complete value add from HCBC
to the members.
to the members. Yeah.
Okay, so no, okay.
We
Hmm.
don't take anything on any of the optional insurances.
And yet you're providing the clients. Okay. Thank you.
I just shared a new screen. Can you
Yeah.
see that, Gord?
I can.
Awesome. Yeah, so this is the website.
Yep.
I'll also put the link in the chat.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay. And you can see here, like we walk you through the program, all of the different coverages here. And
Yep.
then we go into monthly rates. So again, like since it's just yourself and Ellen on the call, we're happy to treat this presentation like a consult. So
Yeah. No, that's good.
yeah, so we've got a few sets of rates here. So silver versus gold, like Tanya just went through, right? Both
Yep.
plans. And then, of course, if you're a single, you should pay less than if you're a duo or a couple. So
Yep.
you have single, then you have yourself plus a partner, right? Or yourself plus one child. That falls under duo. And then anything over 2 falls under family. So you have
And
yourself,
under?
spouse, 2 kids, your family.
Under what? 2 to 25?
We actually don't have an upper limit.
You don't have an upper limit.
25 yet, though.
Okay.
There's some other controls in there, like you can
Well-
only add your legal spouse or your children that are either adopted, legal guardian, or biological children. And the children can only be on the plan up until age 21 unless they're in school full-time post-secondary. Then they can be on the plan until 25.
Okay. No, I'm curious. Sometimes I just run down rabbit holes.
Well, good. I mean, we scheduled a half an hour for the call, so.
I think
Okay.
6 children is the most that I've seen on a plan.
Oh, doesn't Elon have, I don't know, 16 or something now?
Unfortunately, we've not captured him yet.
No. Quick question on, okay, many people have, pieces of this insurance through whatever.
Yes.
How is that rectified or corrected or adjusted for?
So for
Or is
things,
this,
yeah, for things like life insurance, obviously it's not a huge policy. It's only 25,000. So if you have your own life insurance policy, let's say, both policies will pay out. So it's 2 different systems altogether. For things like if you have a coordination of benefits, let's say your spouse has coverage through work,
Right.
she would continue to file under her primary plan. You would file under this plan as your primary, and then anything left over, you would cross between the 2. You would then file under hers, and she could then file under yours. So essentially, you could have up to 100% coverage for health, drugs, and dental.
Mhm. Okay.
So the important thing to remember is just to make sure that the primary person is always going through their plan first, and then the dependent can then go on to the other plan.
Okay. Good.
Hey, Ellen, do you want the spotlight for a bit?
Ellen did have some questions in the chat. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
I won't let Lord stay alone.
All right.
So
we
yeah,
do for you?
I had just put a couple questions into the chat thing. It says for paramedical up to for silver and gold up to $400 or $500 per practitioner per
Yeah.
calendar year. Is there also a per person limit per year? So for example, if I use my $500 up for, say, a naturopath and a masseuse, that would give me $1,000 used under the goal. Do I have something like $1,000 or $2,000 maximum for me as an individual?
No, it's just per practitioner.
Oh, okay. That's very
Ellen,
cool.
that's a really
Yeah.
great question, because some plans do have those types of restrictions
They
where it's
do.
like 500 per, but then you can't spend more than 1,000.
Yeah.
That's right. That's mine's like that right now, the one I currently
Mm.
have. So that's why
Yeah.
was asking that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's very cool. That's good.
Yeah.
And then also on the what you've got on the line right now under long-term disability, it
Yeah.
says your overall maximum is $5,000, but it's $2,500 without medical evidence. So if we join the plan now in this open period, you said there's no medical required. So will that affect what the plan will pay out because there was no medical evidence at the time?
So the guaranteed acceptance means that you don't have to provide any health evidence to join the plan, but the long-term disability medical evidence portion is still in effect. So you still get the $2,500 per month regardless.
Right.
If you want to increase that, if you're eligible to increase that based on your annual earnings up to $5,000 per month, you would have to still provide health evidence for that additional.
Okay, perfect. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's a good question too, Ellen. And I just want to letting you know about the distinction between guaranteed acceptance and what you're seeing on the long term. The long term piece is called a non-medical maximum.
Okay.
And it relates specifically to a disability benefit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually they have like disability does run a bit different than the other insurances.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify that a bit there.
Yeah. Great
And
question.
then I came up with a couple other questions. So let's say I'm 75 years old and I want to extend my health and dental benefits or my health and vision. Is that something that we're able to do when this plan ends? Can we apply to have them extend our coverage through the same company as a private person, or do we have to go shopping privately for coverage beyond 75?
I'll take that answer.
Sure.
So I just want to point out that the termination age is 75 at this time. We hope that one day it will be 85.
Perfect.
But we're trying to put something out to market for the first time, and we have to make sure that the plan can be as affordable as possible. So I just want to make that point, right?
Right.
So let's just say we get to a stage where we have a member who's turned 75 and the termination age on this plan is still 75.
Right.
There's going to be a 60-day window for that member to convert this plan to a private plan. And we would be able to supply the link for that. The plan, it's like the coverages though would be different than what we're seeing here with HCBC. It would be specifically what we call a conversion plan.
Okay. Okay.
And it
Yeah,
may not
that's
be through.
generally, yeah, they generally work like that. It's not an extension of this
Yeah.
plan. It's a whole separate plan that you'd have to apply
Yeah,
for.
a
So,
lot
okay.
less coverage
Yeah.
and a lot more expense.
Yeah, yes. And at that age, yes.
Yeah, so it might even be cost prohibitive. But we have a solution for almost every scenario under the sun. Because we are a national benefits consulting firm, right? So we run a lot of these programs, and we also do like traditional employee benefits work for companies. So
Oh, perfect. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This
And
is,
that's
you know,
generally,
this is basically one of
75.
our new clients. All of
Oh,
the
that's
equestrian associations across Canada is what we're working on right now.
that's excellent. Hey, we're a group too, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
And this
yeah,
plan is better than most. Like, I mean, most of them end, they have extended it to 70. Well, I shouldn't say most, I guess. There have been a lot of them extend the maximum age to 70. So this one at 75 is one of the top ones for later ages.
yeah, yeah. And of course, we had to take into account the demographics of the memberships across
Right.
Canada, right? And we want to offer the same plan to every province.
Right.
So, you know, we don't want to have like, hey, Ontario, you get 75, but BC, you get 85. So there's a
Right.
lot of different like lines we have to kind of walk, and you know, negotiating with the insurance companies and all of the other parties involved. So it tends to get really complicated. But right now we're just focused on BC. We, like Tanya was saying earlier, we've rolled out Ontario. It was a very successful rollout. We have almost 300 members in Ontario. We're hoping that we can get somewhere close in BC during the open enrollment as well. And once we start getting up there in numbers nationally, then we'll be able to have even more flexibility with the coverage moving forward.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
So
perfect.
pass
Thank you
on
for
the
that.
great news.
Yeah. And if you guys
I
are
will.
signing up, please like contact Tanya directly. And if you've had a good experience, please write us a nice comment on the Facebook group.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
We'd appreciate it.
And
Word of
thank you
mouth
for
is
providing
basically
this.
like word of mouth is basically how we're going to you know, talk to the most possible people.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because all us horse people tend to, we have a really good rumor grapevine. So.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how it kind of worked in Ontario too.
Oh, perfect.
A lot of chatter on the internet, and like our email boxes were flooded.
Oh, that's perfect.
So we can go over some of the frequently asked questions that I've made up. I know some of them we've already gone through, but let me, I think it's screen 3. Are we sharing the, yeah, we're okay, we're good, we're good. So the first one, who's eligible for the new benefits? Again, it's just anyone who has a Horse Council BC membership. So there's no other requirements. You don't need to be working. You don't need to be working a certain amount of hours even. So that's the only thing we ask, is that you just maintain your active HCBC membership. How you can enroll in the benefits plan. So Chantel was on that landing page. Essentially, at the top, there is a little button that you can click that just says request my enrollment. So if you click that, it'll take you to a little form that you fill out. That form then comes to me. I put in your information into the system, and you are set up whenever you are ready to go. So again, obviously, the goal is to have people set up by July 31st, so there is no health evidence having to be applied. So when you send in your enrollment invitation, you'll probably get an email from me saying, hey, can you confirm, do you want to start June 1st or July 1st? As long as you are enrolled by July 31st, you will be good to go, and no evidence required there. And then we've got our family members included. So Chantel went over this a little bit earlier. So yes, you can have a spouse, a common law partner, as long as you've lived together for a minimum of 12 months. And then any children under the age of 21 or between 21 and 25 if they are in full-time school. Next question, I actually get asked this a lot. Can I change my coverage at a later date? So people ask, hey, if I enroll in silver now, can I switch to gold and vice versa? Yes, you can, but you can only do that on January 1st of every year. Because there's a lot of calendar year maximums, we're not able to switch between the two plans midway through the year. So you would only be able to do that effective January 1st. Pre-existing conditions to sign up, that doesn't matter if you are signing up before July 31st. And then the only other pre-existing condition that might apply is if you're doing your out of country, and that's just the 90-day stability prior to your departure. So, and I mean, even if you have something that's not stable, you'll still be covered for everything else. You know, if you're taking heart medication, I just had this question the other day. I'm leaving in September. Can I take new medication now? Essentially, my rule of thumb is do not go see a doctor within 90 days of your trip if you can get away with it. Because if it's on your record, even if they have recommended that you take something and you're like, oh, I'll just put it off until I come back. If it's on your record, then it's going to be shown in the event of a claim, and that could make things complicated. So 90 days is just the hard and fast rule. How do I submit claims? There's a couple of different things, different portions to this. So obviously your prescription medication, all you would have to do is go to the pharmacy and just show them your drug card. So your group benefits card, it'll have all the information they need. You'll only pay the portion that's not covered by the plan. So if you're under the silver, you get 70% covered at, let's say, Save On. So you would only pay the 30% difference. With dental offices, there's a couple of different ways that they do it. They will either direct bill, or they might submit the claim on your behalf and then get the payment that way from these from Simply Benefits, or they might ask you to pay up front and then you would manually push through the receipt. Simply Benefits is an all digital platform. So essentially, once you sign up, you'll have access to a member portal online, and you'll also have access to an app. So you would just log in, you can take a picture of your receipt, you submit it. Claims come through usually within 5 business days. They are approved or declined. And then the next business day after it's approved, you would actually receive your payment. So it's very quick that way. And it is a very user-friendly system. So it's, even if you have to submit manual claims, it's very easy to do that. Paramedical coverage is another one where we get questions asked about claims. There's a couple of different online programs that they would run their billing through. If they use TELUS eClaims as one of those portals, then they will be able to direct bill. And I always mention, you know, they'll know if they have the TELUS eClaims portal or not. But if they're not sure, they can give Simply Benefits a call as well. There's a button there to click if you're a provider, and they can actually get someone's help to run through how to put it through or what they need. Same with dental offices. So they're really good, and usually you don't have to wait on hold for very long at all. Coverage when traveling. So again, it's out of province and out of country. So you've got access to, you know, ambulance if you need it, and then you're covered for accident, illness, and emergency hospital as well. And I mean, I've seen a ton of different types of claims come through, you know, some of them just needing stitches to, you know, needing to be flown home because of an emergency. So they vary. And obviously, the only thing I want to stress is if you do have the plan and you need help, just call the 1-800 number on your card right away to start a claim right away as well. And then who to contact for help? I'm your gal. So we've got on the next slide here, you've got my email address. So feel free to just shoot me an email. I'm very responsive. So anytime I get a question, I'm usually on it right away.
Oh, it doesn't look like it switched over to the slide yet, Tanya.
Oh, I see
I know
that.
sometimes it does this.
Like frozen. Hang on a second here.
Is there a minimum? So if I sign up for the plan and I discover for whatever reason that I don't want it.
Yeah.
how
There's
fast can
no-
I cancel?
No minimum contract. So essentially you would just, you can send me an email or give me a call and let me know that you want to terminate, and we'll just terminate it at the end of the month.
Okay, so it's monthly.
It is, yeah. So once you enroll, when you're going through the enrollment process, there's actually going to be a
Yep.
spot there for your premium payments. You can either put a credit
Yep.
card in, or you can put in your banking, and then the premiums get taken on the 10th of every month. And
Okay.
the premium covers you from the 1st to the 30th or the 31st.
Okay. Oh, there you are. Okay.
And the only one thing is, if you do terminate the plan and you decide to come back, health evidence would be required at that time.
Yeah, no, the prereqs are off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Any other
cool.
questions for us?
I do
Down.
have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Just I was at an event a couple weekends ago. We had a booth for Horse Council, and I had somebody come up and ask about this group benefits plan. And they were, I think they were like a ranch or boarding stable or something, and they had employees, and they were interested in signing up their employees on this program. How
Yeah.
would they like go about that process?
Yeah, so with that kind of thing, probably email me directly, just because it's a little bit of a different process. Like, we'll have to get a void check from the, the ranch or the stables if they're wanting to pay for their employees. If they want their employees to just, pay for their own benefits, then the employees can obviously sign up, but they would have to have their own HCBC membership. The benefit of having a ranch or a stables do it is it's just the one membership, and everyone can go under that. So they wouldn't have to have their own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially the premiums would just, they would get the stable would get one invoice with, however many employees that they have. And then they can decide at that point if they want to do like a payment sharing where they pay 50% of the benefits and the employee pays 50%. They can do that as well through payroll deductions.
Okay. Okay. Ellen, did you have another question?
No, I'm good for now. Thank you. This was very informative. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming on, everybody. And thank you to Jocelyn and Sarah for helping organize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was great to have you guys, and I think it would be a good thing to do like another one at some point as well. Just to kind of keep people like in the loop and yeah, have some more people on for questions and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that sounds great, Sarah. You just let us know. We'll be there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks so much again.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gord. Thanks, Ellen.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.